In the quiet hour when the day has already let go of its grip, there is a kind of room that seems to breathe on its own. It is not a bedroom, and yet it holds the same gentle promise. Here, nothing demands anything from you. No tasks, no scrolling, no bright questions, only shelves and the slow patience of objects that have outlived hurry. Imagine, just for tonight, that you have wandered into an archive after closing time. A museum has gone dim, and the last footsteps of the staff have faded down a corridor like a receding tide. Somewhere, a small lamp remains on, a low amber pool of light resting on a work table. It is the kind of light that doesn't shout. It sits, warm and steady, as if it has all night. If you'd like, let your shoulders loosen a little, not by force, just by permission. Let your jaw unclench by a fraction. And let your breath arrive the way a cat returns to a familiar chair. Quietly, naturally, without needing applause. What time is it where you are right now? Whatever the answer, let it be simple. This is not a test. It's just a small doorway from your day into something slower. On the table, there is a shallow tray lined with soft cloth, and on that cloth, resting like a small piece of earth that has learned to become a message, lies a clay tablet. Its surface is uneven, weathered, carrying tiny wedge-shaped marks, lines that once belonged to a living hand. When you look at it, you don't have to understand a single symbol. Your mind can simply notice texture, and the way history sometimes chooses to speak in whispers instead of speeches. The air in the room smells faintly of paper and old wood, with a thin thread of something resinous, cedar perhaps, or a hint of preserved varnish. It's the scent of things kept safe. The scent of a story placed carefully in a box and trusted to time. Outside the building, the city continues. Somewhere, an ambulance might pass. Somewhere, a late bus might sigh at a stoplight. But in this room, sound becomes soft. Even your thoughts, if they come, can be allowed to drift like dust in the lamp's glow. There is a feeling that sometimes arrives in places like this. A feeling you might recognize. A sense that you are not alone with your tiredness. That others, long before you, had their own nights, their own worries, their own long exhalations into darkness, and that something about recorded words, whether on paper, on stone, or on clay, can hold a hand out to you across thousands of years. Tonight, we're going to follow a trail of quiet marks, not toward drama, not toward fear, but toward a soft discovery. What it might mean when a presence steps back, not to abandon, but to let life continue. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Ancient Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. Now, settle back again. Let the story do the walking. You only need to rest. A curator once said that clay remembers. It remembers the warmth of the sun that dried it, the pressure of the reed stylus that pressed into it, the long, cool centuries underground. And when it finally rises into light again, it does not arrive in a rush. It arrives slowly, like someone entering a room after everyone else has already sat down. This tablet, the one in front of you, was found in the ruins of an ancient city in Mesopotamia, what we now call Iraq. A place where rivers braided the land into green and where people learned very early how to make order out of water, grain, and time. The tablet comes from a temple district, an area once busy with offerings, with footfalls, with the rhythm of ritual that repeats the way seasons do. But the tablet does not sing of festivals. It does not celebrate a conquest. Its tone is strangely calm, almost administrative, as if it is recording a decision the way one might record the closing of a gate at dusk. Scholars have given that decision a name. They call it a withdrawal, a stepping back, a leaving that is not violent or not chaotic, just quiet. In the same way, a household becomes still when a loved one has already packed and stood at the door. The text seems to describe a moment when something that had been present decided to become absent, not suddenly as an accident, but deliberately, like a lamp being turned down. In the gentle light of the archive, you might imagine the place the tablet speaks of, a city of baked brick, pale as sand, a temple complex with courtyards that open to the sky, long corridors that hold coolness even in hot months, and somewhere inside, an inner room where objects are arranged with care. It is near the end of the day. The sun is low, stretched thin like honey. Dust floats in the air, visible now because light is slanting sideways. A priest sets a bowl down, not hurriedly, not with trembling hands. Simply with the calm of someone completing a familiar action. Around the offering table, there are vessels, ceramic jars, small metal cups, trays for bread, and dates, not scattered, not smashed, placed as if the room expects someone to return in the morning. And that is what makes the scene so strange, because the morning does not come in the way it used to. In the years after this moment, archaeologists would find signs of abrupt stillness, tools left where they had been set down, work paused mid-step, but no scorch marks, no collapsed walls from battle. Just the gentle signature of a life that stopped doing what it had always done, like a song ending on a note held long enough to become silence. You can picture the temple's inner chambers being prepared, not as a panic, but as a ritual of closing. Cedar resin warmed and brushed along seams. Bitumen, dark, glossy, pressed into cracks to make a seal. A door fitted into place with care. It is not slammed, it is eased shut and then sealed like a letter meant for the future. If you listen closely, you might hear the smallest sounds. A brush against clay, a soft scrape of a lid turning, the faint murmur of voices kept low out of respect for the hour. And above it all, the wind. In Mesopotamia, wind carries the scent of earth and distance. It moves through reed beds, along canals, around the corners of ziggurats. It speaks in a language that never needs translation. Somewhere, someone climbs steps, slowly, because stone holds heat and night is coming. They reach the top of a high platform where the sky feels close. From here, the city's lamps are tiny stars of their own. Look up, the story invites. Not as a command, more like a comfort. As if someone is guiding your chin gently upward. The first true stars appear, and then more. A cluster begins to gather in the dark, small bright points close together like a handful of salt flung across velvet. Many cultures would come to love that cluster. They would give it names, stories, and seasonal meanings. Tonight, we'll simply call it a lantern in the sky. In ancient Mesopotamia, people watched the heavens with devotion, not only for religion, but for rhythm, when to plant, when to harvest, when to hold festivals, when to prepare for flood. The sky was a calendar written in light. And so it makes sense that a story of leaving would be tied to starlight, because what we often do when we are about to let go of something is look for a wider frame. We look for a horizon large enough to hold our feelings without breaking. The tablet, in its quiet way, hints at a council, an assembly, a conversation carried out with solemn patience. But you don't need to imagine raised voices. You can imagine long pauses, the way elders speak when they know the room will listen, the way a decision can be heavy without being harsh, Maybe there was disagreement, maybe there was tenderness, maybe there was the simplest truth of all, that an era had ended. Far below in the city, water runs through a narrow canal, making a sound like quiet silk being pulled through fingers. A dog turns in a doorway and sleeps again. A woman folds linen by lamplight, not knowing she is living inside a turning of the world. And somewhere in the temple precinct, a young scribe presses the last few signs into damp clay, then lifts his hand away as if releasing a bird. The marks remain, the hand withdraws. The night accepts both with the same calm as stars continue their slow work. In the archive, the lamp remains steady. In your room, wherever you are, you can let your breath lengthen, in and out, like a slow tide. Your day does not need you right now. The future can wait beyond the door. And this is the small, gentle cliff at the end of our first step, a sealed room beneath a temple, a sky full of patient lights, and a quiet decision written into clay. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. For now, let the tablet rest on its cloth. Let the dust continue to glow in the lamp's amber circle. And let us, very slowly, follow the wind back toward the temples, the corridors, and the sealed wisdom waiting in the cool dark. The city is still awake, but it is learning to speak quietly. From the roofline, smoke rises in thin threads from evening fires. At a distance, life softens, a door closing, a basket set down, a child's laughter fading as night arrives and asks the street to lower its voice. And then, closer, inside the temple district, there is another kind of quiet. Not emptiness, not abandonment, something gentler, a pause, a held breath. If you are listening in bed, you don't need to imagine it with effort. Let it drift into you the way pictures drift in when you are almost dreaming. Where are we? In the land between two rivers, where canals stitch the soil into green patterns and reeds bend in the wind. The air carries the clean mineral scent of water and the dry sweetness of sun-warmed clay. The temple stands a little higher than the homes around it, not to dominate, but because people have always liked to climb toward what they cannot fully name. When are we? Not in a date you must memorize, just long ago, at the edge of an evening, at the edge of a turning. Who is here? Ordinary people with careful hands, a keeper of keys who knows which doors should creak and which should stay silent, a scribe whose fingers are stained with clay, a woman who tends lamps, one small flame at a time. And perhaps, somewhere within all this, the feeling of a presence that used to feel close, now stepping back the way the tide steps away from shore. What is happening? No shouting, no running, no collapse, only a sequence of gentle actions, arranged like steps in a familiar dance. At the entrance, two columns catch the last light. Stone that was warm all day begins to loosen its heat as if the building is exhaling. A courtyard opens inside with a hard-packed floor that holds footprints like faint memories. Someone has swept it recently. The place is cared for. Inside the temple, the light becomes honeyed and dim, filtered through cloth and narrow openings. Dust floats like tiny gold fish in a dark stream. The walls hold a smell: bitumen, cedar oil, old smoke from incense, mixed with the cool breath of plaster that has rested through many seasons. The offering table is prepared, but it looks less like a feast and more like a still life made for the eyes of the night. Dates, their skins wrinkled and glossy. Bread already cooling, its crust cracked like earth after rain. A cup of dark liquid so still, It reflects a thin line of light. Clay jars in a neat row, their mouths covered with cloth. A bundle of reeds tied with twine, waiting for the next hand that will need to write. But tonight, the next hand does not arrive. There is a particular quiet when a routine stops. You may know it. The moment after you close your laptop, when the hum of tasks fades and you realize how loud you have been inside your thoughts. In this temple, routine is a clock made of gestures. And now the gestures are slowing. A priest, maybe older, maybe simply tired, moves through an inner corridor. His sandals make a soft whisper on brick. He is not rushed. He's not afraid. He is careful. He lifts a lamp and adjusts its wick. The flame leans, steadies, and becomes a small sun. He places it in a niche, then steps back and watches for a moment, as if making sure the light is comfortable there. Even lamplight deserves kindness. Somewhere deeper, a door stands partly open. Beyond it, an inner room. This room is cooler, and the sound of the outside world thins until it is only a faint pulp. If you enter this room in your imagination, do it as gently as you would pull a blanket up to your chest. The floor is smoother here. The air is slightly damp, like the cool breath that rises from a cellar in summer. Along the walls, shelves hold objects that have names and purposes, though we do not need to list them. A small figurine, a polished stone, a seal with carved patterns, a box that fits perfectly into a recess, as if it has lived there forever. Everything is in its place. And that is the soft mystery. Why leave a place so orderly? Why step away when nothing is broken? If we ask why too sharply, we might wake ourselves up. So let us ask it the way night asks questions, slowly, without demanding an answer. Sometimes leaving is not caused by disaster. Sometimes leaving is the gentlest kind of choice, a recognition that something has run its course, a recognition that staying might keep others from learning to stand on their own. In the temple, someone begins to prepare for closure. It does not look like destruction, it looks like preservation. A jar is checked for cracks, then wrapped in cloth. A reed stylus is placed in a small case. A string is wound neatly and tied. The movements are almost meditative. Each action completes itself, then releases. How do they do it, this leaving without noise? They do it the way a caretaker closes a house for winter, by making sure everything is warm enough to survive the cold. They sweep the thresholds. They turn vessels so their mouths face down. They note the inventory, but not with pride, only with tenderness. In a corner, a small vent is checked, so air will move even when no one walks these halls. Nothing is trapped. Everything is simply allowed to rest. And as they work, their faces carry a calm that feels like kindness toward the future. If your own mind has been loud today, you can borrow that calm for a moment. Let your shoulders drop another millimeter. Let your hands become heavy. Let your breath lengthen, as if it has all the time it needs. Here, no one rests alone. Even ancient rooms are prepared with care in the dark together. The scent of cedar grows stronger. Someone has warmed resin and now it is brushed along seams and corners. The resin shines briefly, then darkens as it cools. Bitumen, thick and black, is pressed into the edge of a doorframe, not to trap anything, but to seal it, as one seals a promise. Outside, the sky deepens. The courtyard becomes blue-black. A faint breeze passes through and carries a dry rustle of reeds. The city's sounds soften further, as if even dogs understand this is a night for listening. If you look up from the temple roof, you see the first stars, then more. The sky is a wide bowl, and the stars are seeds of light scattered across it. A cluster gathers close together, small and bright. like a handful of beads. A steadier star sits low near the horizon like a far lighthouse. The people on the roof do not need to speak. They have watched these lights for years. They know the paths the stars take, the way they return, the way they reassure. And tonight, that reassurance matters. Because somewhere in the temple below, a door is being readied to close. Not forever, perhaps, but long enough that the room behind it can become a sleeping place for knowledge. The scribe finishes his last line. He presses the stylus into clay one final time, then lifts it away. The clay holds the impression like a quiet memory. He sets the tablet aside to dry. His hand lingers above it for a heartbeat, then withdraws as if he is letting the message go. If you have ever ended a chapter, you may recognize that feeling, the gentle ache of completion and the calm that follows when you accept that something does not need to be continued tonight. The keeper of keys steps into the corridor. The keys are wrapped, held still, as if sound itself should be respectful. He looks once toward the inner room. His gaze is not anxious, it is reverent. A small ritual begins. A cloth is laid over the offering table, not as neglect, but as rest. The bowl of dates remains beneath, the bread remains beneath, as if the temple is tucking its own objects into bed. A lamp is turned down, another is moved to a safer niche. The light becomes fewer, softer. Shadows grow longer and kinder. If you'd like, let your own thoughts dim their brightness. And now, close to the heart of the temple, the door. It is thick. It has been fitted carefully. The edges meet the frame like two calm hands meeting. Bitumen is pressed into the seam. Resin is brushed across the join. The air smells warm and earthy. There is no dramatic slam, only a slow, final touch. The door is eased shut. The seal is smoothed. The last lamp outside the door is placed at a distance so the seal can cool in peace. Inside, the room becomes dark, but it is not an angry dark. It is the dark of a seed in soil, the dark of a library at night, the dark of your own bedroom when you turn off the last screen. Above, the stars continue. The cluster holds steady. The low star near the horizon does not flicker. The sky is doing what it always does, keeping time without urgency. And here is the quiet hinge of our second step. The temple is not destroyed, it is gently put to sleep. A room of wisdom is sealed, not to hide it from you, but to keep it safe until the world is ready to open it again. If this part of the story brings you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. Just a simple word, rest, or soft, or here. In this quiet corner of the night, even small words can feel like lanterns. Now let us follow the cooling seal, the dimming lamps, and the steady sky, because beyond that door, beneath that careful darkness, something is waiting, patiently, kindly, like a message that does not mind arriving late. The night after a door is sealed is not the same as the night before. Before, the temple is a place of movement, quiet movement, yes, but still the kind that belongs to living routine. After, it becomes something else, a vessel, a held silence, a promise kept in darkness. And yet outside the sealed room, life continues with a gentleness that feels almost tender. The courtyard still cools under the open sky. The lamps still breathe their small flames. The wind still walks the corridors the way it always has, careful not to disturb what is resting. If you are listening now, let yourself be carried by that wind. Imagine it brushing past your forehead, not cold, not sharp, just present. A reminder that even in ancient places, air kept moving and people kept breathing. Somewhere beyond the temple wall, water moves through canals in narrow, patient lines. You can hear it if you try, not as a loud sound, but as a soft, continuous whisper. It is the sound of time being poured. In the distance, another temple rises, its steps stacked like slow thoughts. A ziggurat, a stairway made of brick and intention. Its sides catch the last faint traces of twilight and then let them go. The upper platform darkens and the sky above it becomes the true ceiling. Tonight, we begin a gentle journey. Not a chase, not a quest with danger, more like following a thread of quiet across a landscape that knows how to be still, because the silence we felt in one temple is not alone. It has echoes. It spreads softly from one sacred district to another like dusk spreading across fields. In some cities, people notice the rituals pausing. In others, they notice the inner rooms being closed with care. And the most attentive among them, the ones who listen as much as they look, feel something subtle in the air, as if a familiar presence has stepped farther back. No one announces it in the market. There is no banner, only the small signs that begin to gather. A courtyard, swept but unused, a lamp lit, then turned low. A priest standing longer than usual beneath a doorway, as if listening for footsteps that do not arrive. If you have ever waited for a message that never came, you know the feeling. The mind tries to fill the silence with meaning, but the body simply stands there, quiet, and eventually learns to accept the quiet as its own kind of answer. In the temple districts, acceptance arrives the way night arrives, slowly and all at once. A scribe in one city makes copies of a text, not because he is afraid, but because he wants the words to survive. His stylus moves with steady patience. The marks are small, but they carry a calm authority, like someone saying, "This happened, and it was held with care." In another city, an old woman lights incense and then pauses, noticing that the scent is thinner tonight, the smoke rising in a straighter line, as if the air itself has become more attentive. Across the land, people keep their eyes on the sky. Because the sky, unlike politics, unlike rumor, is faithful. It returns, it repeats, it has paths. In those days, people spoke of the heavens as if they were made of roads. Not roads you walk with feet, but roads your gaze can follow. If you stand on a high platform and look up, you can feel those invisible lanes, the way you can feel a current in water, even when you cannot see it. There is a path for the highest, coldest lights, a path for the warm lights that sit lower, a path for the drifting, wandering points that sometimes appear and vanish. You don't need to remember names. Tonight, you can simply imagine 3 wide bands across the sky, like gentle rivers of stars. And along one of those bands, a cluster gathers, small points close together like a tiny crown. Along another, a single, steady light hangs low, a distant beacon. If you are tired, you might feel your thoughts soften just looking at them. Stars do that. They remind the mind how small urgency can be. The journey takes us to a city where the river bends and reeds grow tall. At night, those reeds make a sound like fingers combing through silk. The air tastes faintly of water and mud and the cool mineral edge of stone. Here there is also a temple, and here too there are inner rooms. But the people who tend them do not panic. They work as if they are putting a child to bed. They stack objects carefully. They wrap fragile things. They seal a chamber not to hide it, but to protect it. The seal is smooth, dark, and glossy. When the last touch is made, someone brushes their hand along the seam, not pressing, just feeling, as if saying, "Rest now." And then, silence. A young watcher climbs the steps to the roof after midnight. He is not a guard in the way we think of guards. He carries no weapon. His job is simply to observe. He sits on the edge of the platform, letting his legs dangle, and he looks up. His eyes adjust. The sky opens. He knows what to look for. The return of certain stars, the slow drift of the bright ones, the way the cluster rises at a particular time of year, like a familiar song starting again. But tonight, he is also looking for something else. Not a ship, not a spectacle, something softer, a sign that the world is still being watched, even if the watchers have stepped back. The idea comforts him. It is the same comfort you might feel when you fall asleep knowing someone you love is in the next room. They may not speak. They may not touch your shoulder. But their presence is there, quiet, protective, undemanding. In this world, some believe that certain beings, call them guardians, call them elders, call them silent attendants, remained at thresholds, not to rule, not to interfere loudly, just to keep small points of connection alive, like embers held beneath ash. Whether that belief was literal or symbolic matters less than the feeling it created. Safety. If you've had a hard day, you can borrow that feeling. Imagine that somewhere beyond your walls, beyond your city, beyond even your thoughts, there is a steady kind of attention, quiet kind, not asking anything of you, just there. The watcher's breath slows, his shoulders loosen. He is not trying to solve anything. He is simply letting the sky be wide. Below him, the city sleeps in layers. A dog shifts, a door creaks in the wind. Water continues, and in the sealed rooms beneath, knowledge rests. Not as a secret meant to exclude, but as a gift waiting for its right season. A library that does not mind sleeping. A message that does not mind arriving late. Sometimes the most compassionate thing a teacher can do is step back. Not to disappear, but to let the student discover their own strength. The same is true in families, in friendships, in the quiet relationship between a mind and its own fears. When we stop forcing an answer, a softer understanding can appear. On this journey, we begin to sense that the withdrawal was not abandonment. It was an invitation for human hands to keep building canals, to keep writing, to keep watching the sky and making meaning. An invitation to grow. In the days that follow, small schools of scribes continue. Children learn to press reeds into clay. They learn to count, to measure grain, to mark time. They learn the patterns of seasons and the patient logic of water. And at night, they look up at the same stars. The cluster rises. The beacon glows low. The bands of light hold steady, like roads that never close. If your mind tries to hurry, let the sky slow it. If your thoughts want to rehearse tomorrow, let the ancient watcher's breath remind you tonight is only for resting. Imagine yourself climbing a few warm brick steps. Feel the texture under your feet. Feel the air cooling on your skin. Lift your face toward the dark, in and out. The stars do not demand that you stay awake. They do not demand that you understand. They simply offer their quiet scale, their slow turning, their endless return. And somewhere in the land below, behind smooth seals of resin and earth, the houses of wisdom sleep, cool, ventilated, patient, like the calmest rooms in the world. As our journey continues, we will follow those sleeping rooms and the people who kept them, and the gentle signs that spoke not through thunder but through dreams. For now, let the image settle. A roof under a wide sky, a watcher breathing slowly, a city resting in layers, and sealed doors holding knowledge like a lullaby held in the dark. On another evening farther south, a small boat slides along a canal under moonlight. The boatman rows without hurry. Each stroke is a quiet circle in the water, widening then smoothing out, as if the canal is practicing forgiveness. Along the banks, palms stand still, and the marsh grass leans, listening. A traveller sits in the bow with a folded cloth on his knees. Inside the cloth is a tablet, still damp at the core, carrying a few lines meant for another temple, another shelf, another sealed room. The traveller does not read it again. He already knows the feeling of its words: calm, deliberate, final. Instead, he watches the reflection of stars trembling on the water. When the boat passes beneath a bridge, the reflections break, then gather again, teaching the mind that even when patterns scatter, they can return. If you like, take one slow breath with him now. Inhale as the oar lifts, exhale as it enters. Let that rhythm be enough. Later, in the next city, he will climb a stair and offer the tablet to a keeper of records. Nothing dramatic will happen, just hands receiving what hands have made. A sealed room changes the shape of a night, not because it is dramatic, but because the mind can feel when something has been placed carefully out of reach, like a letter slipped into a drawer, like a lullaby hummed and then allowed to fade. Across the riverlands, in cities that glow softly under moonlight, people begin to speak in a new way about what has happened. Not in the marketplace, not loudly, not with slogans, more like murmurs exchanged at doorways or quiet thoughts carried between breaths. It is strange, they say, how the temples have not been destroyed, yet the inner rooms are closed, how the offering tables have not been overturned, yet the rituals have slowed, how the air feels slightly wider, as if a presence once near has stepped back into a farther distance. And still, the sky remains. The same slow constellations, the same patient roads of light, the same small cluster of stars rising like a handful of beads, and the low, steady beacon that seems to watch from the horizon. If you're listening now, let your eyelids feel heavy for a moment, even if you keep them open. Let the muscles around your eyes soften. You are allowed to drift. Nothing in this story requires sharp focus. It can enter you the way a dream enters, quietly, through the side door of the mind. Because this is where the turning becomes gentle. In one city, a baker wakes before dawn as bakers do. He kneads dough by lamplight, his hands warm, his thoughts still half asleep. He has heard the whispers about sealed chambers, but he does not have time to chase mysteries. His life is flour and heat, and the simple holiness of feeding people. Yet on this morning, while the dough rests beneath a cloth, he pauses. He has the feeling that someone is standing behind him. Not close enough to startle him, not close enough to touch, just present. Like the sense of a loved one in a hallway, moving quietly so you can keep sleeping. He turns, and of course there is no one. Only the dim room, the wooden table, the slow rise of dough, and the hush before sunrise. But in his chest, the feeling stays, soft, protective, unthreatening. Later, when he carries bread toward the temple precinct, he notices something he has never noticed before. A small carved symbol above a side gate, half worn by time. It looks like a star or perhaps a flower. He cannot tell, but the sight of it calms him, as if it is a familiar sign he has forgotten, and he understands without words that the leaving was not a vanishing, it was a change in distance. Sometimes, when we love someone, the kindest thing we can do is stop hovering. We step back, not because we are indifferent, but because we trust them to grow. We keep our attention, quietly, patiently, without crowding their life. In the Riverland cities, people begin to hold this idea the way one holds a warm cup between both hands. Withdrawal is not disappearance, it is restraint. It is a gentler kind of guidance. They begin to speak of silent watchers, figures not of noise or spectacle but of thresholds, not rulers, not conquerors, not beings that demand belief. More like guardians of small connections, the kind you feel when you look up at the sky and sense that the universe is not hostile, only vast. In some homes, people light a small lamp near the doorway before sleep, not as a superstition, but as a comfort. The lamp does not burn bright. It is only a tiny ember of light, like a reminder. You are not alone in the dark. And then something else begins. Dreams. Not the frightening kind, not the kind that jolts you awake. These are dreams that arrive like a soft hand, smoothing a blanket. Dreams made of symbols, gentle and uninsistent, the way meaning sometimes comes when we stop trying to force it. A young scribe, tired from copying records all day, falls asleep on a woven mat. The room is cool, the window is open to a courtyard where a palm frond taps lightly in the breeze. His breath slows, his fingers uncurl, and in the middle of the night, he dreams of a corridor. He is walking, barefoot, on a floor that feels cold and smooth as riverstone. Along the walls are niches holding lamps, each one turned low. The light is amber, steady, almost like the lamp in the archive far away in our own first scene. At the end of the corridor is a door. It is sealed with dark resin, glossy like dried night. The seam is perfect. The door does not feel locked in a cruel way. It feels tucked in, protected. Above the door he sees a pattern of stars, not painted, not carved, more like the stars themselves have leaned close to the wall and arranged their light into a sign, a cluster close together, and below it a single steady point near the horizon. The scribe reaches out, not to break the seal, but to touch the air beside it. His hand meets coolness, as if the room beyond is breathing out a gentle cold. Then behind him a presence. He does not turn quickly, he turns slowly, as if he knows the night does not want sudden movements. He sees no face, no body, no sharp outline. Only a sense of attention, like moonlight without a source. It does not speak in words, it offers an image, a child learning to walk, wobbling, falling, rising again. And with that image comes a feeling so simple, it almost makes him smile in sleep. Let them learn, let them grow. We will not leave you unheld. When he wakes, the dream dissolves as dreams do. But the feeling remains quiet, steady, like a stone warmed by sun and carried in a pocket. In the following days, he notices changes in the world that are not changes at all, only things he is now ready to see. He watches older scribes teach children how to hold a stylus, not tightly, not tensely, but with relaxed fingers. He watches merchants count measures of grain with patience, not greed. He watches a farmer look up at the sky before planting, as if asking the season for permission. Knowledge, he realizes, does not need thunder. It can seep, like water, into dry soil, like light into a room as the sun rises. This is how the sealed wisdom works. Deep beneath certain temples, behind carefully preserved doors, there are rooms designed to last, cool, ventilated, sheltered from damp and insects, shelves of clay tablets, bundles of reeds, seals and stones, records of measurements, star observations, hymns and calendars, tools for living, not weapons for fear. The rooms are not meant to be tombs, they are meant to be sleep. A library that can rest until the day someone opens it with calm hands. On certain nights, a keeper of the inner corridors descends alone. She carries a small lamp cupped in both hands, shielding it from the draught. The stairwell smells of cool brick and faint resin. Each step down is a step away from the wide world and into something narrow, calm and close, like moving from thinking into breathing. At the bottom, the air is steadier. A thin current moves through clay pipes hidden in the walls, bringing fresh air without bringing light. The keeper pauses to listen. There is a sound, almost nothing, a soft sigh traveling through the vents, like a long exhale from someone finally safe in bed. She does not open the sealed door. She simply rests her palm near the seam and feels the temperature, cool, reliable, unchanged. Then she adds 1 drop of cedar oil to a small bowl outside the chamber, a scent that says, "We remember you." When she climbs back up, the night sky meets her like an old friend. The cluster has risen higher now. Later, people will call it the Pleiades. Though tonight, it is simply a little gathering of light. And low in the south, a steady beacon, what sailors will one day name Canopus, holds its place near the horizon. She looks at them and thinks without sadness, of distance. How the kindest guidance is sometimes the kind that doesn't interrupt. And she feels in the simplest way that the world has not been abandoned. It has been trusted. Her breath matches the stars, slow even, and forgiving tonight. And above ground, life continues and learning continues, and people continue to look up at the sky. Because the sky is the softest teacher. It shows you cycles without demanding that you hurry. It shows you that distance does not mean abandonment. The stars are far, yet they still reach you with light. If you've been carrying your own worries, emails, deadlines, unfinished conversations, let this idea settle in you now. Something can be far and still be present. You can let go and still be cared for. Take 1 slow breath in and let it out even more slowly. You can let night hold you without questions, without effort. Now imagine for a moment that you are lying in a cool room of your own, your day sealed gently behind a door. Imagine that your thoughts are like clay tablets placed carefully on a shelf. You do not have to read them tonight, you can let them rest. And in the quiet above you, the roads of stars continue their calm travel, guiding no one in particular, and yet guiding everyone who lifts their eyes. In the next part of our journey, we will follow those houses of sealed wisdom more closely, down into their cool breath, into their careful architecture, into the way they were built, not for fear, but for preservation and trust. For now, let the dream linger like a thin scent of cedar. Let the silent watchers remain exactly as they are, quiet, non-intrusive, steady. And if this story is bringing you calm, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself, just 1 word you'd like to carry into sleep. Tonight, the path does not lead outward across dunes or rivers. It leads inward, down, into a place where sound becomes velvet. We return to the temple, but not to its courtyard or its open sky. We return to the stair that descends behind a curtain of woven reed, where a lamp burns low and steady, as if it has been trained to be gentle. A keeper waits there, not as a guard, but as a caretaker of quiet. She does not hurry. She knows that the underground is a world that prefers slow footsteps. Where are we, exactly? In a city built of brick and patience, somewhere between the rivers. When are we? In an hour after midnight, when even the wind has softened its voice. Who is with us? Only a single figure and the small circle of light she carries. What is happening? A descent toward a sealed chamber, toward a sleeping library of clay and cedar. And why? Not to pry, not to disturb, but to remember how gently the past can be kept. If you're listening in bed, you can let your breath match the pace of the steps. In and out. One step, one exhale. Another step, another exhale. There is no need to picture every detail sharply. Let it arrive like a dream you trust. The stairwell narrows, the air cools, the scent changes first. Less smoke, more earth. Less open night, more stone that has been resting. A faint thread of cedar follows us down, as if someone once brushed the walls with warmth and left it there as a kindness. The keeper's lamp throws a small amber oval onto the brick. The bricks are old, but they are still honest. Their edges are worn smooth where hands have touched them. In places, the mortar holds a dark sheen, bitumen pressed into seams long ago to keep moisture out, to keep time from nibbling at the corners. It looks almost like dried night. Far above, there is still a sky, but down here, the ceiling is close enough to feel like a shelter. The silence is different too, not empty, but layered, as if the walls remember every whisper and have decided to hold them carefully. Halfway down, the keeper pauses. She turns her lamp slightly and the light reveals a narrow opening cut into the wall. A vent. A slender channel that leads upward in a long, hidden line. Even in ancient times, they understood a simple truth. A room meant to last must be allowed to breathe. You might feel something soften in your own chest at that. The idea that even sealed wisdom is not suffocated. It is protected, yes, but still given air. A gentle balance, like closing your eyes while still letting your breath move freely. The keeper continues. At the bottom of the stair, the space opens into a corridor. Here, the floor is smoother, cooler underfoot, like riverstone. The lamp's light cannot reach the end, and that is part of the comfort. It means the corridor does not ask to be seen all at once. It allows itself to be discovered slowly. Along the wall are niches, small recesses shaped for lamps. Some are empty now, some hold bowls of ash, remnants of old flames. The keeper touches one bowl with her fingertip, and a tiny grey puff rises, then settles. Even dust behaves gently down here. Ahead, the corridor bends. The keeper rounds the corner, and the air grows slightly colder, as if the earth is holding a cool sip of water in its mouth. Then the scent returns. Cedar, resin, the faint sweetness of stored wood. And there it is, a door, not dramatic, not ornate, just a thick barrier fitted into the brick frame with careful precision. Its surface is darkened by age and oil. Along its edges, the seal is visible, a smooth black line of bitumen and resin pressed and polished until it became almost seamless. The door does not look like something meant to keep people out. It looks like something meant to keep something safe. The keeper lifts the lamp closer and the light reveals small marks beside the door. Not a long inscription, not a parade of names. Just a simple sign, an emblem pressed into clay and then set into the wall. It resembles a cluster of tiny points arranged like a small constellation. Above it, faint lines curve, as if tracing paths across an unseen sky. If you listen closely, you might notice that the corridor is not perfectly silent. There is a soft, steady sound almost below hearing, a long exhale traveling through the vent system. The sealed chamber is breathing. The keeper does not touch the seal. She stands a step back, respectful. Her presence here is not an interruption. It is a check-in, like a parent standing at a child's doorway to make sure sleep is deep and safe. She sets the lamp in a niche opposite the door, and the corridor brightens by a small amount. Then she takes a small bowl from a cloth pouch. Inside it, a drop of cedar oil. She tilts the bowl, letting the oil fall onto a stone. The scent blooms gently, warm and clean, filling the narrow air, like a memory of sunlight in wood. In that moment, it becomes easy to understand what these places were for. The chamber behind the door is not only storage, it is intention made architectural. It is a decision built into brick. We will not lose what we have learned. We will place it somewhere cool, dry, and protected. We will let it sleep. And what sleeps there? Inside the chamber, the keeper remembers, the shelves were built not as piles, but as gentle tiers, each one allowing air to slip between tablets the way water slips between stones. A thin layer of sand had been laid beneath the lowest rows to drink any wandering dampness. Near the ceiling, small openings met the hidden vents, so the chamber could exchange breaths with the upper world without ever being exposed to rain. There were moments, long ago, when an apprentice had stood beside her in that cool darkness, eyes wide, hands hovering as if afraid to touch history. She had taught him the simplest rule: move slowly and listen. If the tablets were moved, move them one at a time, like carrying sleeping birds. If the chamber's cool air rolled over your skin, let it remind you that knowledge does not have to burn to be powerful. It can be quiet, it can wait. And when the right hands arrive, calm, unafraid, the door will open like dawn without force, and the room sighs. Clay tablets, stacked like quiet books, records of grain and water, yes, but also records of stars. Calendars that turned seasons into a pattern a human mind could hold. Hymns and prayers not shouted, but shaped like steady breathing. Lists of names not to impress, but to remember. Small seal stones with carved designs. Used to close jars and letters the way we close our day behind a door. The keeper imagines them without opening the chamber, because she has seen them before, years ago, before the seal was refreshed, before the door was made final. She remembers the cool air that rolled out when the chamber was briefly opened. She remembers how the tablets smelled, not of ink, but of earth and time. She remembers the strange comfort of it. Knowledge made humble by being stored in darkness. You might notice the comfort too, because part of you already knows this feeling. You have your own sealed rooms, drawers of memory, shelves of unfinished thoughts, boxes labeled later. Tonight, you do not have to open them. Tonight, you can let them rest, cool and quiet, breathing softly behind their own doors. The keeper stands with her hands folded. She looks at the constellation emblem again, and here is the soft discovery she carries like a lantern in her chest. The ones who withdrew did not leave a void. They left a structure, a way for humans to continue through schools, through calendars, through careful rooms that outlast a lifetime. They stepped back so that the work of living could become our own. Sometimes guidance is not a voice. Sometimes it is an architecture, a corridor that teaches you to slow down, a vent that teaches you to breathe, a seal that teaches you to trust time. The keeper turns slowly and begins to walk back up the corridor. Her lamp makes the brick glow like warm skin. Behind her, the sealed door remains. It does not call, it does not threaten, it simply holds. As she climbs the first steps, she pauses once, just once, and tilts her head upward, as if she can feel the sky far above, those patient roads of stars still moving, still returning. And in that quiet, she offers a thought that might belong to you too. You are allowed to be held by what you do not control. You are allowed to rest inside a world that continues without your effort. You are allowed to let some things remain sealed until morning. If you'd like, take one slow breath now. Imagine it traveling down your throat like warm tea. Imagine it reaching your chest, spreading gently, loosening knots you didn't know you were holding. Then let it go. Up the stair, the air warms slightly. The scent of open night begins to return. And somewhere above, beyond the temple roof, the stars keep their calm. The cluster rises, the beacon holds steady. The roads of light remain open. And, still, behind the door in the earth, the house of sealed wisdom sleeps, cool, ventilated, cedar-scented, patient. In the next part, we will linger a little longer with the sky itself, and with the way human beings learn to read it not as a threat, but as a lullaby. For now, let the image settle. A lamp in a niche, a sealed door breathing softly, and a constellation pressed into clay like a gentle signature. Above every sealed door, the sky keeps its own door open. It does not creak. It does not swing. It simply is wide, quiet, and patient, the way a good night can be when you finally stop negotiating with it. If you are listening from a room with curtains drawn, you can still imagine that sky. It is there even when you cannot see it, like a calm friend waiting outside your window. And if you can see a slice of it between buildings, above trees, over rooftops, let it be enough. You don't need a perfect view to feel the scale of it. In the riverland cities long ago, people learned to use the sky the way we use a clock, not to rush, but to repeat, to return, to reassure. They would climb to a high platform when the heat of the day had softened. They would bring a small lamp turned low, so their eyes could still gather the dark. They would carry a tablet and a reed stylus, not as tools of pressure, but as companions, like a notebook beside a bed. And then they would wait. Waiting in that world was not always empty time. It was an act, a ritual, a way of aligning the mind with something larger than worry. Imagine the steps of a ziggurat under your feet. Brick, warmed by sun, now cooling into a gentle, steady temperature. The air smells of dust and distant water. Below, the city settles into sleep. Doors closing, voices thinning, a last dog bark turning into silence. At the top, the platform opens to the sky. Here, the watcher sits with knees drawn up, shoulders relaxed. He does not stare as if hunting. He looks the way you look at someone you trust, softly, without pushing. The first stars appear and then more. Over time, the watcher learns to recognize certain shapes, a small cluster of bright points close together, like a little handful of beads. A steady light low in the south near the horizon, as if a lantern has been hung there for travelers. A long, faint ribbon of stars stretching across the dark, like a road made of dust. They begin to speak of these roads, not roads of stone, but roads of light. One road is high and pale, where the coldest stars drift. Another is lower and warmer. Another lies between. Different cities name them differently, but the feeling is the same. The sky is not random. It has lanes, it has rhythm. It has a kind of order that doesn't demand obedience, only attention. If you've had a day full of decisions, you may feel your mind soften at that. Order without pressure, pattern without punishment. The watcher opens his tablet and presses a few small marks, not many. He does not fill the page. He records a simple truth. The cluster rose a little earlier tonight. The low beacon held steady. The ribbon of dust was clear. Then he pauses, because the most important part is not the writing. It is the pause between marks, the moment when the mind stops trying to control the world and begins to belong to it. Down in the temple district, the sealed chambers rest in their cool darkness. The houses of wisdom breathe slowly through their hidden vents. No one opens them tonight. No one needs to. Their presence is enough. Knowing they exist is enough. Sometimes the watcher thinks about the sealed doors and the stories whispered around them. He has heard that something withdrew, that something stepped back. He has heard the elders describe it not as loss, but as a kind of trust. At first, he did not understand. Then one night, he watches a mother in the courtyard below. A small child is learning to walk. The child wobbles, feet uncertain, arms out like little wings. The mother crouches close at first, hands ready. Then slowly she shifts back, giving the child space, not because she doesn't care, because she cares enough to let the child discover balance. The child falls once, then laughs, then tries again. The mother does not rush to prevent the fall. She lets the lesson be gentle, and she stays close enough that the child can always return. The watcher feels something settle in his chest. Withdrawal can be love. Distance can be protection. Silence can be a way of letting someone hear their own strength. He looks back up at the sky, and the stars feel like the mother's steady eyes, present, wide, not crowding. On certain nights, the watcher's thoughts drift toward dreams. In his city, people have begun to speak of dreams as messages, not commands, not prophecies that frighten, but images that arrive like soft birds landing on the mind. A sealed door, a corridor of lamps, a child walking, a cluster of stars drawn on a wall, a feeling of being watched without being judged. He has had such dreams himself. He remembers one. He is walking through a cool underground hall, his bare feet touching stone that feels like night water. In niches, small lamps glow. At the end, a door is sealed with glossy, dark resin. He does not open it. He simply rests his palm near it and feels the cool breath of the room beyond, like a sleeping library. Then he wakes, and the dream dissolves. But the calm remains. It stays in his hands while he eats his morning bread. It stays in his chest while he writes his day's records. It stays in his shoulders when the city grows loud. Dreams, he realizes, are another kind of road, not in the sky, but inside. And when you are tired, roads inside could be the kindest ones. If you'd like, let this story become a road inside you now. You can imagine yourself on the platform. You can feel the cooling brick. You can look up at the dark without needing to solve anything. You can let your thoughts be clouds passing across the sky of your attention. In and out. Some nights the watcher thinks about how a room can hold silence the way hands hold water. He remembers the inner corridors, how the lamp's amber circle makes dust look like slow snow, how brick smells faintly of sun even after midnight, how cedar returns if you stand still. He remembers that the sealed door is not a wall, but a pause. Knowledge allowed to sleep without being questioned. And if we drift back, just for a breath, to the archive where our story began, you can feel the same kindness repeating. A table, a cloth, a tablet resting in warm light. Outside, the world continues. Inside, everything is slow. Borrow that archive light for your own room now. Imagine a small lamp in the corner, soft amber. Imagine your thoughts as objects on a tray, a plan, a worry, a message. You don't have to solve them. Place them down gently and let them be still. 3 times, very softly, let the night repeat its comfort. A sealed door, a breath of cedar, a road of stars. The watcher notices the cluster rising higher. It glitters softly, as if the sky has scattered a few grains of salt. He notices the low beacon, steady, unblinking. He does not name them out loud. He doesn't need to. The naming can stay private, like a prayer. You don't have to speak for it to be real. Below, the temple's outer lamps burn low. The inner doors remain sealed. The cedar scent rests in the corridor like warmth in wood. And here, on the platform, the watcher makes a small choice. He stops trying to listen for a dramatic sign. He stops waiting for the past to return in a loud form. Instead, he listens for what is already here, the wind moving through reeds, the faint water sound from canals, the slow, reliable turning of the stars. He realizes that guidance does not always arrive as presence. Sometimes it arrives as structure, calendars that repeat, schools that teach, chambers that preserve, rituals that help a community breathe together. A soft twist, but a true one. The withdrawal did not remove meaning from the world. It placed meaning into the hands of ordinary people, into the baker who rises early, into the scribe who teaches a child to hold a stylus loosely, into the keeper who checks the vent so a sealed room can breathe, into the watcher who writes only a few calm marks, and then lets the night be night. When the watcher finally stands to leave, he does it slowly. He stretches his fingers. He feels the weight of his body grounded safe. He looks once more at the sky, and he offers a thought that is almost too gentle to call a thought. You can rest. You do not have to hold the world up tonight. The sky is holding itself. The rivers are moving. The sealed rooms are breathing. The stars are walking their quiet roads. As he descends the steps, the city below is deeper in sleep. The corridor of the temple is darker now, but not frightening. It is the darkness of a place that has done its work and is ready to rest. He passes the inner threshold where the sealed chamber lies. He does not touch the seal. He simply bows his head slightly, the way you might nod to a closed door in your own home, grateful for the quiet behind it. Then he walks out into the courtyard, and the night air meets him like cool linen. If you are still awake, you can let the next breath be a little longer. If you are already drifting, you don't need to catch up. The story can carry you either way. Because tonight, the sky is still there, and the roads of stars are still open, and the wisdom that was sealed was not sealed to keep you out. It was sealed to keep it safe, until you were ready to open it with calm hands in a future that does not need to rush. Time, when it is kind, does not rush back into a room. It approaches the way dawn approaches a sleeping city, slowly, with soft light, with patience that does not demand you wake all at once. And so long after the temple lamps have gone out, long after the last priest's footsteps have faded into sand, there comes another night, another quiet hour, when a sealed door is touched again, not by intruders, not by a crowd, by careful hands. Where are we now? We are still in the land between rivers, but the landscape has changed its clothing. The canals have shifted, the marshes have wandered, the bricks have sunk and risen again under centuries of wind. The temple mound looks like a low hill from a distance, a gentle swelling in the earth, as if the land is hiding something tender under its palm. When are we? Early in the morning, before the heat grows sharp. The sky is pale, the air cool enough to feel clean. A thin mist of dust hangs near the ground, and the horizon is a soft line, not yet bright. Who is here? A small team, quiet, practiced, respectful. An archaeologist who speaks softly even when no one asks her to. A conservator whose hands are steady and patient. A local worker who knows the land's moods and listens to the wind as if it is an old teacher. No one is excited in the loud way. Their excitement is held inward like warmth in a cup. What is happening? A door that has slept is being approached. And why? Because a message was left. Not for a particular person, but for a future that would someday be calm enough to receive it. The first steps are not dramatic. They are tender. They begin by brushing away sand the way you might brush crumbs from a blanket without waking the one who rests beneath. Each stroke of the brush is small. The sound is soft, a dry whisper, a hush against clay. There is a rhythm to it: brush, pause, breathe, like a ritual of care rather than a task of extraction. The archaeologist kneels beside a wall that is partly exposed. She studies the line of bricks, the angle of a corner, the faint shine of old bitumen in a seam. Her face is shaded by a wide hat. Her eyes do not dart, they settle. If you are listening from your bed, you can borrow her pace. Let your breath slow to match the brush. In and out. There is no hurry, there has been so much time already. They find a corridor. At first it is only a narrow gap where air feels cooler. Then, as sand is lifted and carried away, the corridor becomes a shape, a descent, a sheltered line leading into the earth. The team sets boards along the edge for safety. They place a small lamp at the top, not bright, just enough to soften shadows. The conservator goes first, stepping carefully, testing each brick. The air changes as she descends, cooler, steadier, smelling faintly of old earth and something resinous that has survived like a quiet perfume. Cedar, perhaps, or the memory of cedar. At the bottom, the lamp reveals niches in the wall, bowls where flames once lived, a vent opening, still doing its patient job. The archaeologist smiles, but only slightly, because some smiles are too loud for places like this. She whispers a note to herself, as if speaking to the corridor might disturb it. It breathes. And then around a bend, they see it. The door. Not a grand gate, not a carved monument. Just a thick barrier, its edges sealed, its surface darkened by age. The seam is still visible, smooth and glossy in places where bitumen held firm. Dust has settled along it in a thin, respectful line. No one touches it yet. They stand and they listen. It is strange how listening changes a room. Even underground, even surrounded by brick, you can feel the body's ability to sense quiet. The corridor feels like a held breath. The lamp's flame leans slightly in a draft from the vents, then steadies again. The archaeologist's mind, trained by years of careful work, moves through questions in the gentlest order. What sealed this? How was it meant to last? What was the intention, not only the function? She does not ask, what treasure is inside? She asks, what memory was protected? When the work begins, it begins like surgery, slow, clean, respectful. The conservator warms a small tool in her hands, not hot, just warm enough to soften the seal without cracking the ancient wood. She tests a corner of bitumen. It yields slightly, not resisting as if it has been waiting. The seal is not broken with force. It is eased, coaxed, invited to release. As the seam opens, a thin breath of air slips out, cool, dry, carrying the faintest hint of resin and clay. It is the scent of a room that has been sleeping, not rotting. A sleeping library. The archaeologist closes her eyes for a moment. Not from emotion that overwhelms, but from reverence. This is what it feels like when the past trusts you. It does not shout, it exhales. They widen the opening by a hand's breadth. The lamp light spills in, careful and hesitant, like a guest entering a room where someone is still asleep. Inside, shelves, not broken piles, not chaos. Tiers of clay tablets arranged with intention. Some are stacked in neat rows, some rest in shallow baskets. A thin layer of sand on the floor drinks the smallest moisture. Vent openings near the ceiling still guide air through, quietly doing what they were built to do. The room is cool enough that the skin on the archaeologist's forearm prickles. The air feels clean. Time has held its promise. No one reaches in quickly. They stand at the threshold and let their eyes adjust. They let the room be seen at its own pace. The archaeologist speaks softly, almost as if she is speaking to the tablets. We're here. We'll be gentle. If you are listening, you can imagine that sentence being said to you too. We're here. We'll be gentle. You don't have to brace yourself. One tablet is chosen first. Not because it looks most valuable, but because it is positioned safely and can be lifted without disturbing others. The conservator slides both hands beneath it, supporting the clay as you would support a sleeping infant's head. The tablet is heavier than it looks. It carries weight not only of material, but of human hours, of someone's careful work in a night long gone. The tablet comes into the lamplight and the marks appear, small wedges pressed into clay, lines that still hold their edges. The archaeologist does not translate on the spot. Translation can wait. First comes preservation, documentation, slow gratitude. They wrap the tablet in soft material. They record its position. They take photographs, not with flashes that startle, but with steady light. They move slowly because moving slowly is a form of respect. Above ground, the sun rises higher. Heat begins to gather outside, but down here the chamber stays calm. The sealed wisdom has created its own weather. Cool, dry, stable, like the inside of a deep breath. Later, in a field tent, the archaeologist sits with the first tablet on a table. A lamp glows warm beside it. The scene echoes the archive from the beginning of our story. Another pool of amber light, another quiet surface of clay. She runs her eyes along the lines and her face softens. The tablet's voice is not dramatic. It is precise, calm, almost tender in its plainness. It records a closing, a decision, a transition. It speaks of duties shifted, of rituals paused, of watchers assigned not to rule, but to observe. It hints at knowledge set aside to be carried forward through schools, through calendars, through the patient discipline of time. And here is the soft discovery arriving like a feather. The sealed rooms were not built to hide a secret from humanity. They were built to give humanity space. Space to learn, space to grow, space to become the kind of hands that could open the door without breaking what was inside. The archaeologist leans back and exhales. Outside, the desert wind passes over the tent like a long sigh. The world continues. But in her chest, something settles, a simple recognition that feels like comfort. Sometimes love steps back. Sometimes guidance becomes quiet. Sometimes the most faithful presence is the one that does not interrupt your life. If tonight you have felt alone with your thoughts, let this be your lantern. Across millennia, human beings have left gentle structures for each other. They have sealed rooms not to keep us out, but to keep something safe until we were ready. And you too can place your worries on a shelf tonight. You can let them rest in a cool chamber of your own, breathing softly, protected, not demanding you solve them before sleep. Before she closes the notebook, she steps outside for a moment. The sun is higher now, bright on the sand, but the morning still feels young. She looks back at the mound and imagines the long chain of nights that passed above it, storms, clear skies, moons waxing and thinning, while the chamber kept breathing in the dark. A colleague offers her water, she takes a sip, and the coolness feels like a blessing. She thinks of the hands that sealed the door without knowing her name and feels gratitude for anonymous care. If this story calms you, leave a small word below, rest, sky, or simply here, so others know they're not listening alone. Somewhere, later tonight, the stars will rise again, steady and kind for a while. Take one slow breath in. Let it reach the bottom of your lungs like cool air entering a sealed corridor. And breathe out, long and easy, as if you are sealing the day behind a door that will still be there in the morning. In the days that follow the opening of the sleeping chamber, nothing in the sky changes. The same pale mornings arrive, the same heat gathers over sand, the same evenings cool into indigo. And when night finally settles, the same roads of stars appear, patient and unhurried, as if the heavens are reminding everyone, then and now, that revelation does not need to be loud. What changes is smaller and closer to the human hand. A tablet, once sealed in cool darkness, now rests on a padded table beneath a warm lamp. The lamp is not harsh, it is the kind of amber light that makes edges softer. The kind that invites you to lean in without tensing your shoulders. A conservator sits beside it with a brush made of fine hair, moving dust away the way you might smooth a wrinkle in a sheet. Each motion is slow, deliberate, almost like breathing. If you're listening right now, notice your own breath. You don't have to change it. Just notice it, in and out, like a gentle tide that doesn't ask where it is going. The archaeologist, quiet, careful, a person who has learned to let mysteries unfold, watches the tablet as if it might start speaking at any moment. In a way it already has, not in sound but in presence. Clay has a gravity. It holds time the way a stone holds warmth after the sun has gone down. On the surface, the wedge-shaped marks look like tiny footprints left by a bird that walked across wet earth. Lines of them gather, pause, gather again. Even without reading them, you can feel their rhythm, statement, pause, statement. A calm voice. A record meant to outlast the mood of the day. When the translation begins, it begins the way a lullaby begins, gently, without expecting you to stay awake. A scholar sits with a notebook and a magnifying lens. She does not attack the text with certainty. She approaches it with humility. She knows that every sign has more than one shade, and that meaning is often a slow animal that comes closer only when you stop chasing it. So she reads in fragments. A word that means to close, a phrase that means to set aside, a line that suggests the duty is shifted, a quiet note about watching, not ruling. Nothing on the tablet screams. Nothing declares a grand ending. It reads like a careful household instruction, like a gentle letter placed on a table. We are stepping back. Keep the lamps low. Keep the records safe. Let the seasons continue. And then, among the practical lines, there is something softer, an image, almost poetic in its simplicity. A mention of the sky's roads, a reference to a cluster of stars rising at a certain time. A note about a gate that remains, even when the gatekeeper has gone quiet. The scholar pauses over that line. She can feel, under the plain language, the tenderness of the decision. The text does not sound like a threat. It sounds like restraint. Sometimes, the best kind of power is the kind that chooses not to use itself. The room is quiet except for the faint scratch of pencil. Outside the tent, the wind passes, lifting a corner of fabric, then letting it fall. In the distance, a generator hums softly. A modern insect. But inside, the scene is ancient again. Lamp, clay, patient attention. What happened back then, the scholar wonders, not as gossip, but as human truth. Why did the inner rooms close so carefully? Why was the leaving so orderly? She writes a question in the margin. Who was this message for? And the answer comes without drama, for whoever would be gentle enough to find it, not for a king, not for a conqueror, not for a crowd demanding spectacle, for careful hands, for quiet minds, for people willing to breathe before they decide what something means. In that way, it is not only an ancient message, it is a bedtime message. If tonight's story is landing softly in you, you can let it land that way. You don't need to solve it. You don't need to stay alert. You can simply listen as if you are listening to rain on a roof. Later, when more tablets are brought out, patterns begin to appear. There are lists of offerings, yes, but also lists of star observations, notes about months, notes about when certain lights rise, when they vanish, when they return. A calendar made of sky. There are instructions for keeping rooms cool, for sealing doors, for maintaining vents, for storing clay so it doesn't crumble. These lines feel almost domestic, like someone telling you how to care for a house while they are away. In one tablet, a simple list records jars of oil and bundles of reeds, but beside the list is a tiny note about kindness. Handle with calm hands. Another tablet marks a change of season. The air turns cooler, the river lowers, as if the scribe wanted the reader to feel the weather, not just measure it in the night. And then there are the most quietly moving parts, hints of a philosophy, not written as a sermon, but embedded in the shape of the work itself. The idea that wisdom can be sealed, that knowledge can sleep, that silence can be a form of guidance. The scholar thinks of parents who step back when their children learn to walk. She thinks of teachers who stop answering every question, not because they are tired, but because they want the student's own mind to bloom. She thinks of friends who stay present without demanding attention, offering companionship like a warm blanket rather than a spotlight. And she thinks with a strange gratitude of how this ancient act of withdrawal might have felt to ordinary people, confusing at first, then slowly comforting. Because if a presence that once felt close steps back, you might interpret it as abandonment, unless you have another story, unless you have a structure that says, we are still here, just quieter, we are watching just from a distance, we trust you. The tablets, in their calm voice, seem to offer that structure. They suggest a world where watchers remain, not to interfere loudly, but to keep small points of connection alive, dreams, symbols, seasonal rhythms, the steady lanterns of stars. They suggest a world where the greatest gift is not control, but space. The archaeologist returns one evening to the mound and sits alone a few meters from the entrance to the corridor. The air is cooler now. The day's heat is draining out of the ground like water draining from a basin. She listens to insects and distant voices from the camp. Above her, the sky darkens. What time is it where you are right now? If it's late, let that lateness be a kindness. If it's early, let the quiet still be yours. The first stars appear, then the cluster, then the low beacon near the horizon. She watches them and remembers the line about the roads of the sky. The thought comes to her in a simple way. This is how the ancient world stayed calm. They gave their worries to the horizon. They let the heavens be larger than their minds. She closes her eyes and inhales. For a moment, she can almost smell cedar rising from a sealed corridor, even though the door is open now and the tablets are being catalogued and carried to safer places. Memory is like that. It returns scents and feelings without being asked. She imagines the people who sealed the chamber. She imagines their hands pressing bitumen into seams, smoothing it until it shone. She imagines them doing it not with fear, but with respect for time. And she imagines them looking up at the same stars, feeling both small and protected. This is the soft twist that keeps unfolding. The past is not only a collection of events. It is a collection of ways to soothe the human mind. Because when you step back far enough, you can see that every era has its own version of stress. Every era has its own reason to worry about food, weather, conflict, loss. Yet people still found rituals that slowed the heart, sweeping a courtyard, lighting a lamp, sealing a door, watching a Star rise. If you have been carrying your own modern worries, let this be a gentle permission slip. You are allowed to borrow ancient calm. You are allowed to let your day be sealed behind a door. You are allowed to keep the lamp low. The archaeologist stands and brushes dust from her knees. She walks back toward camp slowly, letting the night do what it does best: soften edges. In the tent, the scholar returns to the tablet again. She reads one line out loud, softly, not as a performance, but as a private comfort. It is a line about patience, about waiting for the right season. She doesn't translate it perfectly. She doesn't need to. The feeling is enough. Rest and let time do its work. And in that moment, something inside the modern camp becomes like the ancient temple, quiet, careful, reverent. Here, no one rests alone. A story has traveled through millennia to sit beside you tonight, like a warm lantern set on a bedside table. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below, only when you're ready. A simple sentence is enough. And if you'd rather stay silent, that's enough, too. Silence can be a form of belonging. Now let the tablet remain on its cloth. Let the lamp remain warm. Let the sky remain wide. In the next part, we will follow the knowledge out of the sealed rooms and into the everyday lives of people, how it moved like water into soil, quietly shaping calendars, schools, and the gentle resilience of a community. For now, take one slow breath in, as if you are lifting a lamp, out, as if you are turning it down, and let the night hold you without hurry. Morning in the Riverlands does not arrive with a sudden alarm. It arrives the way a hand opens slowly from a fist, gently, almost without sound. A pale light spreads over flat roofs and reed fences. Cool air lingers in courtyards where bricks still hold the night's softness. Somewhere a kettle begins to warm, somewhere a donkey shifts its weight and sighs, and in the temple district, even after sealed doors and quiet withdrawals, ordinary life keeps its steady rhythm, because rhythm is how humans survive the unknown. If you are listening now, you don't have to follow the story tightly. Let it move around you like morning air. Let your breathing stay slow. Let your shoulders keep loosening, as if the night is still kindly holding you. In one city, a school opens its wooden shutters before the sun turns sharp. The room is simple: a low table, woven mats, baskets of clay. The clay is damp and cool, ready to be shaped into small tablets. A teacher, older, patient, with inkless fingers stained by earth, sits cross-legged and waits for the children to arrive. They come in quietly, not because they are afraid, but because the room asks for quiet. Some are sleepy. Some are bright-eyed. Some carry the restlessness of a family argument that happened before dawn. The teacher does not scold their emotions. He simply begins with something that never changes: the breath. Slowly, he says, not as an order, but as an invitation. He places his palm on his own chest, then lowers it. The children copy him, some awkwardly, some naturally. A few breaths pass and the air in the room becomes softer. Then he hands each child a small reed stylus. The lesson is not about being perfect. It is about making a mark and letting it be enough. Press, lift, press, lift. The sound is tiny, like rain tapping on dry leaves. The children learn that writing is not shouting. Writing is patience shaped into a line. Outside, the city is already awake. Women carry water jars on hips that have learned balance. Men open stalls and lay out dates, onions, woven cloth. A baker's oven releases a first warm breath, and bread smells like comfort made edible. Above it all, the sky is widening into blue, quiet and indifferent to human worry, yet somehow always comforting. This is how knowledge moves after the door is sealed, not by dramatic announcements, not by a voice from the heavens, by small hands pressing small wedges into clay. In the school, teacher sometimes tells them a story without calling it a story. He speaks of ways in the sky, wide lanes of light that the ancients imagined as gentle roads. He does not pile the children's heads with names. He simply draws 3 arcs on a scrap of clay and says, "The heavens have paths, the way rivers have paths." Then he points to the night he remembers from his own childhood, when the air was so clear that the ribbon of starlight looked like dust spilled from a jar. He tells them that watching the sky is not about predicting disaster, it is about learning steadiness. The child asks, "If the Great One stepped back, why do we still feel them sometimes?" The teacher pauses, letting the question rest in the room like a feather. Then he answers, "Because distance is not the same as absence." He taps the child's tablet gently. "When you press a mark here, your hand leaves, but the mark stays." The children nod, not fully understanding, yet feeling comfort in the shape of the idea. When the season turns, the city holds a festival that is more like a deep breath than a celebration. People sweep their thresholds, wash their hands, and share simple food. They retell the year's story in quiet phrases. The river rose, the river fell, the barley grew, the barley rested. The repetition itself calms the nervous system of a whole community. It says, "We have been here before, we will return again." On one of those festival nights, a young potter brings a small bowl to the temple courtyard. Inside the bowl is a single wick floating in oil. She lights it and sets it on the ground, away from the main lamps like a private star. She does not ask for favors. She does not bargain. She simply watches the flame lean and steady, and she feels her own mind do the same. If your thoughts have been leaning all day toward worry, toward regret, toward tomorrow, let this be a gentle reminder. You can steady too. Nothing has to be solved tonight. Your only work is to rest. And so the knowledge moves again, through festivals, through classrooms, through hands that keep choosing calm. Like water, it takes the shape of what holds it. Like light, it arrives even when it is far away. In the teacher's corner, a larger tablet rests, an older record copied from older records. It is not stamped with 1,000 names. It does not brag. It simply lists the months and their signs, when the river rises, when it lowers, when certain stars return to the night. The teacher reads one line aloud slowly, then stops. He lets the children feel the rhythm of it, the way you feel the rhythm of a lullaby. Even if you do not understand every word, your body understands the calm. At midday, when the heat thickens, the school rests. The children roll their tablets in cloth and tuck them into baskets. The teacher closes the shutters. A breeze pushes through the room, slipping between reeds, turning the air into moving shade. In the distance, a temple bell does not ring, because in this world, bells are not the center. Breath is the center. Season is the center. Return is the center. And then, in the afternoon, the city's attention turns toward water. Canals are checked, gates are lifted and lowered. Someone clears reeds from a channel so the flow stays smooth. Someone else measures the water line on a marked post, or noting how the river's mood has shifted. None of this is glamorous, all of it is sacred, because water in the riverlands is not only resource, it is time you can touch. If you have been living in a modern world of screens and deadlines, you may feel a soft relief here. Everything these people do is tangible. Hands in clay, feet on brick, eyes on sky, breath in chest. At sunset, the heat releases its hold. The sky becomes gold, then rose, then a deepening blue like ink diluted in water. People finish their tasks and return to rooftops and courtyards. A family eats quietly together. A dog curls near a doorway. A lamp is lit, turned low, and set in a niche where it won't flicker too loudly. And then, slowly, the stars arrive. The familiar cluster gathers again, small points close together, like a tiny crown. Low near the horizon, the steady beacon appears, a patient lantern. Across the dark, a faint ribbon of starlight stretches like a road, almost like dust made luminous. On a temple roof, a watcher sits, not to wait for spectacle, to keep time, to keep calm. He holds a tablet and makes only a few marks, then he pauses. He looks down at the city and sees something quietly astonishing. Life continues without being forced. He watches a father teaching a son how to tie a reed bundle. He watches a mother pouring water, slowly, not spilling. He watches a young scribe walking home with clay under his arm, careful, as if carrying a sleeping bird. He watches an old woman sweep her doorway in a steady rhythm that sounds like peace. And he understands the gentle point the sealed rooms have been teaching all along. Wisdom does not need to stand over you. It can stand beside you. It can become a habit, a calendar, a way of breathing through a difficult season. Later that night, the teacher from the school lies down on a mat. His room is cool. The walls are thick. The lamp is low. He hears distant water, the soft rustle of palm fronds. He does not think of the sealed doors with fear. He thinks of them the way you might think of a pantry stocked for winter, a comfort, not a threat. As sleep approaches, his mind offers him an image, not a command, not a prophecy, a corridor with lamps, a sealed door breathing softly, a child taking steps while a parent watches from a respectful distance. The teacher smiles in the dark. He does not try to hold the dream. He lets it pass through him like wind through reeds. If tonight's story has been easing you towards sleep, you can do the same. You don't have to hold every detail. You can let it drift. You can let your body be heavy. You can let your thoughts be placed gently on a shelf. And here is the soft discovery, simple enough to be true. The withdrawal was not the end of guidance. It was the beginning of human ownership. The sealed rooms were not only hiding places, they were teachers. They taught restraint, preservation, patience, and trust in time. The sky too was a teacher. It taught return. It taught that distance can still bring light. If you'd like, ask yourself quietly, what is one small ritual that calms you? A cup of tea, a shower, a walk at dusk, a single deep breath before bed. Whatever it is, let it be your own little temple tonight. Here, no one rests alone. If you feel like it, leave a gentle comment for yourself below, just one word you want to carry into sleep. And if you don't, that's fine. Silence is also a home. Now let the city settle. Let the canals whisper. Let the children's clay tablets dry in their baskets. Let the watcher look up one more time at the roads of stars. And let your own day be sealed gently behind you, safe, quiet, and waiting until morning. Night returns the way it always does, without argument. In the riverlands, the air cools again. Lamps bloom in doorways like small, patient flowers. Courtyards fill with the soft sounds of settling. Baskets placed down, sandals set by a wall, a final cup rinsed and turned upside down to dry. And above it all, the sky opens, dark and generous, offering its familiar roads of light. In the modern camp beside the mound, the archaeologist sits with her notebook closed. The day's work is done. The tablets are wrapped and stored. The sealed chamber, no longer fully sealed, still feels like a sleeping thing that deserves respect. She has learned that discovery is not only excitement. Discovery can also be quiet gratitude. If you are listening from your own room, let this be your permission to stop doing too. Let the day's tasks loosen their grip. Let your breath lengthen in the simple, ordinary way it does when you finally believe you are safe. In the distance, a teammate laughs softly at a joke. The sound is brief, then fades. The desert wind moves past the tents, brushing fabric, carrying the faint scent of dust warmed by sun. Someone makes tea, and the steam rises into the night like a thin, pale ghost that means no harm. The archaeologist steps away from the camp lights and walks toward the open ground. She does not want to stare at screens. She wants the old medicine, the sky. She looks up. There it is again, the small cluster of stars gathered close together, bright and calm, like beads on a string you can't quite see. And low near the horizon, the steady beacon, unblinking, patient, as if it has been holding its place for centuries, just to reassure tired eyes. She thinks of the ancient watcher on the ziggurat roof. She thinks of the teacher in the schoolroom, guiding children to press marks into clay with relaxed fingers. She thinks of the keeper in the corridor, placing a drop of cedar oil outside a sealed door, not as superstition, but as tenderness. All these people, separated by thousands of years, share the same gesture. They lower the volume of the world. And in that lowering, something opens. In her notebook, the scholar had written a question. Why did they withdraw? It is the kind of question that can sharpen into anxiety if you hold it too tightly. But the answer, as the days pass, begins to soften. Withdrawal was not disappearance. Withdrawal was not punishment. Withdrawal was not coldness. It was a kind of restraint that trusts the next generation. The archaeologist remembers a phrase from her childhood, something her grandmother used to say when she stepped out of the kitchen and let the children stir the soup themselves. Let them learn the weight of the spoon. The soup might spill, the children might make mistakes, but the point was never perfection. The point was becoming capable by being allowed. She realizes that the sealed rooms were built like that. They were not only vaults, they were invitations. An invitation to become the kind of society that can carry knowledge without being carried by it. An invitation to grow into responsibility the way a child grows into their own stride. And perhaps, she thinks, this is why the ancient records feel so calm. They are not begging the future to worship them. They are not threatening, they are simply leaving a structure behind, like a parent leaving a lamp on in the hallway and trusting you to fall asleep. If tonight you have been feeling pulled in 100 directions, messages, expectations, unfinished plans, let this idea touch you gently. Not everything that steps back is leaving you. Some things step back to give you space to breathe. The archaeologist sits on the ground, letting the earth support her. She pulls her jacket tighter, not because she is cold, but because the gesture feels comforting, like wrapping yourself in a familiar blanket. Above her, the star roads hold steady. She imagines the ancient ziggurat again, the long stare, the brick cooling after sunset, the watcher's slow breathing. She imagines the watcher noticing the same cluster, the same beacon, and feeling his own mind unhook from worry. Then she imagines something smaller, closer, a house in the ancient city, a family settling for the night. The father extinguishes one lamp and leaves another burning low. The mother smooths a woven mat. A child asks a last sleepy question, and the answer is gentle, not urgent. Outside, the wind passes over reeds like a soft hand over hair. In that house, someone dreams. A corridor of lamps, a sealed door. A cool breath of cedar. A child learning to walk. A presence that watches without crowding. The dream does not say, "Be afraid." It says, "Keep going." It does not say, "You are alone." It says, "You are watched over quietly." Sometimes the most healing message is not a sentence. It is a feeling. The feeling of being allowed to be imperfect, allowed to rest, allowed to learn slowly. The archaeologist looks down at her own hands, dusty at the fingertips. Today they handled clay that remembered another world. She thinks about how the tablet survived not because of magic, but because of careful choices, ventilation, sealing, patience, respect. And she sees the metaphor as clearly as starlight. The mind, too, needs good architecture. It needs vents, small paths for breath. It needs seals, boundaries that protect rest. It needs shelves, places to set thoughts down so they do not tumble through the night. If you'd like, you can build that architecture right now without effort. Let your shoulders become heavy, let your hands loosen, palms open, let your jaw soften, let your breath find a slower tide. Now, very gently, imagine your worries as clay tablets. Each worry is a small rectangle of thought, solid and real, but not dangerous. You can place them on a shelf. You don't have to read them tonight. You don't have to solve them tonight. You can let them sleep. A sealed door, a breath of cedar, a road of stars. 3 images, returning like calm refrains. On nights like this, she remembers the modern world she came from, the bright phones, the crowded calendars, the feeling of being pulled forward by ropes. She remembers airport announcements, the taste of hurry, the way a mind can keep rehearsing tomorrow even while the body sits still. And she thinks, gently, of the people who will hear this story. Someone in an apartment where a refrigerator clicks. Someone in a suburb where rain taps the roof. Someone in a hospital on a night shift, stealing 5 minutes of stillness. Someone who has done their best all day and now wants to be held by something softer than news. If that is you, let the ancient lesson be practical. The sealed rooms did not fight the desert. They worked with it. They chose thickness of wall, the right angle of a vent, the slow patience of resin cooling in the seam. They accepted that weather exists and built a calm place inside weather. You can do that too. You can accept that thoughts exist and still build a calm place inside thoughts, not by wrestling, not by arguing, by arranging, by giving each thing a place, by letting the mind breathe through small vents of attention, one inhale, one exhale, one quiet return. Imagine a corridor inside you lit by low lamps. Each lamp is a simple truth. You are here, you are safe enough, you can rest. At the end of the corridor is a door. Behind it, your day is stored. Emails, worries, plans, stacked like tablets on shelves. You do not need to open that door tonight. You can touch the air beside it and feel coolness, quiet, soft. The archaeologist stands again and walks back toward camp. She does not feel triumphant. She feels steadier. The world is still complex, still unfinished, still full of questions. But her nervous system has learned something ancient. You can live inside questions without being consumed by them. At the edge of the camp, the scholar is still awake, quietly writing. She looks up as the archaeologist approaches. "Anything new?" she asks. The archaeologist considers. Then she says something simple. "Not new, just clearer." She doesn't mean the translation, though that is growing clearer too. She means the meaning, the soft meaning that sits beneath the plain lines of record. The scholar nods. She doesn't press. She understands that clarity, when it comes, often comes like sleep, not grabbed, but received. They sit together for a moment. Tea is passed between them. Steam curls upward, dissolving into the night. The stars keep their slow watch. And in that shared quiet, the archaeologist thinks of you, of the unseen listener who might be lying in bed with tired eyes, letting these images wash over the mind like warm water. What time is it where you are right now? Whatever the hour, let it be gentle. If you can, notice one sound in your room, the hum of air, the distant hush of traffic, the quiet of your own breathing. Let that sound be your present moment, soft and safe. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. If this story brought you calm, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. Just a word you'd like to carry into sleep. And don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. For now, let the camp grow quieter. Let the notebooks close. Let the tablets rest in their padded wrappings. Let the sealed chamber continue to breathe beneath the earth, calm and cool. And let your own mind do the same, breathing, softening, stepping back from the day's bright edges. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to withdraw from urgency. Not to disappear, not to give up, but to rest. To trust that morning will come. To trust that you can return, stronger, calmer, with hands gentle enough to open any door. Somewhere in the riverlands long ago, a lamp is turned down until it becomes only a small, steady ember. Somewhere in your own world tonight, a screen goes dark. And between those two gestures, separated by oceans of time, there is a quiet bridge made of the same human need, to be held by calm. We have walked through archives and temples, across rooftops and along canals. And we have followed sealed doors, patient vents, cedar-scented corridors. We have watched stars rise like gentle lanterns. And if you have stayed with the story this far, you may notice something soft happening in your body already, the slow loosening that comes when the mind stops expecting a sudden shock. Now, in this 11th step, we begin to return, not with a hard ending, not with a snap of closure, but with the same pace we've used all along, a slow drift toward the present, like a boat easing into a quiet shore. Imagine the archaeologist again, not in the bright noon, but in the late evening. The camp has quieted. A few low voices murmur, then fade. A kettle clicks as it cools. The wind moves past canvas and rope with the lightness of a hand smoothing a sheet. She sits outside her tent with one last cup of tea. The steam rises and disappears. Above her, the cluster of stars gathers, small, close, familiar. And lower, near the horizon, that steady beacon holds its place with a patience that feels almost personal. She thinks about the sealed room that slept beneath the mound for so long. She thinks of the people who sealed it, not knowing her name, not knowing the language she speaks, not knowing the future at all. And yet somehow they prepared a gift for her anyway, a room built to breathe, to endure, to wait. That is one of the gentlest truths history can offer. People have always been leaving kindness for strangers. Sometimes it is a bridge. Sometimes it is a recipe. Sometimes it is a song. Sometimes it is a sealed chamber of clay tablets protected by resin and trust. If your day has been heavy, let that truth be simple. You do not have to carry everything alone. Even the past has been trying quietly to help. The archaeologist closes her eyes and listens. In the distance, a night bird calls once. Then silence returns, smooth as water. And in that silence, she feels something that is not quite an answer, but is better than an answer. Steadiness. When she opens her eyes again, she looks down at her hands. They are dusty at the fingertips. They have held something old and fragile. They have learned today that gentleness is a kind of strength, and she realizes that the same rule is true for the inner life. The mind is also old and fragile at times. It can crack if handled roughly. It can be preserved if handled with care. So she makes a small ritual for herself. Nothing dramatic, She simply places her notebook on the table, closes it, and rests her palm on the cover for a moment. It is her way of sealing the day. Not to deny it, not to erase it, just to let it rest. You can do the same wherever you are. If you want, we can visit the archive again, like returning to a familiar room to make sure the lights are right. In your imagination, the door opens with a soft click, and cool air greets you, paper, wood, and resin sweetness. A lamp waits on a table, already turned low. On the cloth, the clay tablet rests, and you don't need to read it. You can notice its weight, the way it looks like a small piece of earth that learned to become a message. If you picture your fingers touching it, feel the coolness first, then the gentle roughness of time-worn edges. That texture can calm you because it reminds your mind, this moment is not an emergency. So many moments have passed before and the world kept moving. Outside that archive, outside your room, there may be things you cannot control. Weather, news, other people's moods, tomorrow's meetings. But inside this small circle of light, everything is simple. A breath in, a breath out, a quiet object that asks for nothing. What time is it where you are right now? Whatever the number on the clock, let it soften. Into night, rest, now. If your mind tries to bargain, I should be asleep already. Let the archive teach you patience. Clay does not dry by force, it dries by waiting, and you can arrive at sleep by waiting kindly, not by pushing. In the ancient temple, a keeper repeated a gentle sequence each night. She checked the vent so the sealed room could breathe. She placed one drop of cedar oil outside the door. She stood still long enough to feel the corridor's cool calm settle into her bones. Then she walked back up, leaving the chamber undisturbed. No drama, only care. No conquest, only maintenance. That too is wisdom, the quiet repetition of what keeps you well. If you're lying down, let your hands become heavy. If you're sitting, let your shoulders drop. If you're walking through your room, slow your steps as if you are moving through an archive where dust glows in amber light. Take a breath in. Not too deep, not forced, just enough to notice. And breathe out slowly, as if you are smoothing resin along the edge of a door. In the old temples, the sealed doors were not meant to lock people out forever. They were meant to protect what mattered until the right season arrived. Tonight, you can let your own worries have that same protection. Picture a simple corridor inside you, brick walls, cool air, a few lamp niches with low flames. At the end of the corridor is a door, thick, calm, patient. Behind it are your unfinished tasks, your messages, your plans, your worries. They are not enemies, they are simply objects that belong to daylight. You do not have to open that door now, you can let it remain sealed for the night. Outside the corridor, the sky continues. Roads of stars unhurried, a small cluster like beads, a steady beacon near the horizon. They do not ask anything from you, they simply shine. And in that shining, a soft understanding grows. Withdrawal can be love, stepping back can be protection, silence can be guidance. The ancient story we've been following is, in one sense, about temples and tablets, but in another sense, it is about something much closer. The moment you stop gripping your own mind too tightly, the moment you let yourself be watched over, quietly, by the larger rhythms of the world. The river rises and falls, the seasons return, the stars keep their paths, and you, too, are allowed to have cycles. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to rest without earning it. If you'd like, ask yourself gently, what would it feel like to trust the night for 10 minutes? Not to solve, not to plan, not to replay, just to be held. Now bring your attention to the simplest sensations, the weight of your head, the softness beneath you, the temperature of air at your nostrils, the slow movement of your chest. Let your jaw loosen, let your tongue rest, let your hands uncurl. And if thoughts come, as they always do, treat them like clay tablets. Notice them. Name them softly if you want. Tomorrow, money, family, work, health. Then place them on a shelf, one by one. No judgment, no argument, just placement. A sealed door, a breath of cedar, a road of stars. Say those images inside your mind very slowly, like 3 quiet footsteps. With each image, let your body sink a little deeper into rest. Some listeners like to know where they are. So in a very gentle 5W1H way, here is our answer tonight. Where are you? In a room that holds you, in a bed, or a couch, or a quiet chair, in a place that can become safe when you decide to soften. When is it? In the hour that belongs to rest. Whether it is early evening or deep night, you are allowed to treat it as the beginning of calm. Who is with you? Perhaps no one in the physical sense, and yet history is with you. The steady sky is with you. And this quiet corner of listeners is with you too. What is happening? Your nervous system is unwinding. Your breath is slowing. Your mind is learning again that it can stop running for a little while. Why does it matter? Because you deserve to be rested. Because you deserve to be held by something larger than your to-do list. And how will we do it? The way the ancients did, with small rituals. A lowered lamp, a closed notebook, a steady gaze at the sky inside your imagination. A door sealed gently for the night. The archaeologist finishes her tea and stands. She looks once more at the mound, then at the stars. She does not feel urgency. She feels gratitude. And she turns toward sleep the way a traveler turns toward home. In your own space, you can turn toward sleep now too. You don't have to follow the story to the end. You can let it drift like wind through reeds. You can let your awareness soften at the edges. You can let the next breath be slower than the last. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below when you're ready. And if the story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. Just a single word. Here, no one rests alone. In the next and final part, we will lower the lights even more. We will return to the archive, to the sealed door, to the sky's quiet lanes, and we will let the story become a lullaby you don't need to finish. Only a warm presence beside you as you drift. The night has been walking beside you for a while now. Not rushing, not pulling, just keeping pace, like someone who knows the way home and doesn't mind if you stop to breathe. If your eyes are heavy, you can let them be heavy. If your thoughts are still moving, you can let them move more slowly, like boats drifting into a quieter part of the river. You don't have to arrive at sleep by force. You can simply let sleep arrive the way cool air arrives when a door is open to the night. We return one last time to the small amber lamp in the archive. It glows in a circle on the table. Dust floats through that circle like slow golden snow. The clay tablet rests on cloth, its edges worn soft by time. It doesn't demand to be deciphered. It only offers the feeling of something preserved, something held carefully so you don't have to hold it in your mind tonight. Outside the archive, there may be a city. Outside your room, there may be noise, but inside this circle of light, everything is simple and safe. What time is it where you are right now? Whatever the answer, let it become an easier word. Night. And only for now. And in night, the rules change. In night, you're allowed to loosen your grip. If you'd like, take a moment to notice your body, the way the ancient keepers noticed corridors and seals. Notice your forehead, let it smooth. Notice your eyes. Let the tiny muscles around them soften. Notice your jaw. Let it hang a fraction lower, as if you are no longer bracing for anything. Notice your shoulders. Let them fall like a cloak sliding down a hook. Notice your hands. Let the fingers uncurl one by one until the palms are open and quiet. Now, notice your breath. You don't need to change it. Just let it show you its natural rhythm. In and out. Imagine that each exhale is a careful hand smoothing resin along the edge of a door. Not sealing you away from life, only sealing the day away from you for a little while, because that is what the sealed rooms taught us. A door can be closed with kindness. A door can be closed so the inside can rest. A door can be closed so what matters can be kept safe until the right season returns. In the ancient temple beneath brick and earth, the house of sealed wisdom breathed in cool darkness. It did not decay. It did not panic. It simply waited, ventilated, protected, patient. Tonight, you can be like that room, cool enough to calm, protected enough to let go, patient enough to trust the morning. In your mind, you may still hear the soft sounds of our journey, water in a canal, reeds rustling, the hush of a corridor, the faint sigh through hidden vents. Let those sounds become lullabies rather than signals. They don't mean you must do anything. They only mean the world is continuing gently while you rest. Now let us return to 3 images, again like a refrain that becomes softer each time. First, the sealed door, a thick door in a cool corridor. It seems smooth with dark resin. It is not a prison door, it is a bedtime door. It holds the day on one side and sleep on the other. Second, the breath of cedar, a faint warmth in the air like wood that remembers sunlight. Not sharp, not perfumed, just a clean, gentle comfort, the kind that makes a room feel cared for. Third, the road of stars, a wide sky with patient lanes of light. A small cluster of bright points like beads, a steady beacon low near the horizon. The stars do not hurry, they do not demand, they simply return. Now let those 3 images return once more, slightly slower, a sealed door, a breath of cedar, a road of stars, and again even softer, as if your mind is already drifting. A sealed door, a breath of cedar, a road of stars. If thoughts come up, emails, conversations, worries, treat them as tablets in the archive. Notice them, then set them down. You can imagine a shelf, cool and steady, where each thought can rest. This one is called tomorrow. Place it down. This one is called work. Place it down. This one is called money. Place it down. This one is called family. Place it down. This one is called health. Place it down. You are not ignoring them. You are preserving them. You are letting them sleep until morning, when your mind can hold them with better light. Somewhere in the ancient city, the teacher finished his lesson and closed the shutters. He let the children's tablets dry. He let the day end. He did not ask the clay to harden instantly. He trusted time. Somewhere on the ziggurat roof, the watcher made only a few marks, then stopped. He did not fill the tablet with fear. He let the sky do the rest. Somewhere in the corridor, the keeper placed 1 drop of cedar oil and walked away. She did not open the sealed room. She did not need to. The room was safe. Her only task was gentleness. And somewhere in the modern camp, the archaeologist closed her notebook and rested her palm on it, a simple act of sealing the day. She looked up at the stars and felt her nervous system remember a forgotten truth. You can live inside questions without chasing them at midnight. If you are still awake, you might feel a small shift now. Not a sudden switch, but a soft drift, like the moment your body decides it is done carrying its own weight and lets the bed carry it instead. Let the bed carry you. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the top of an old temple stair. The brick beneath your feet has cooled, releasing the day's warmth slowly, as if it is sharing what it can. A light wind crosses the platform and carries the faint scent of river water and dry earth. 2 quiet notes. You look out over the sleeping city. Courtyards are pools of shadow. A single lamp glows behind a doorway, then dims as someone turns it down. Somewhere, a dog circles once and settles. Somewhere, a bowl is rinsed and placed upside down. The whole city is doing one simple thing, letting the day end. Now you begin to walk down the steps, not quickly, slowly, like descending into a softer layer of yourself. With each step, your breath lengthens a little. With each step, your thoughts lose their sharp edges. By the time you reach the courtyard, the sky feels farther away, and the world feels closer and safer. You cross the courtyard and enter a corridor. It is cool. In niches, lamps burn low, steady and kind. Dust drifts through amber light in spirals. At the end of the corridor is a sealed door. You don't need to open it. Just notice how calm it is, how it holds what it holds without strain. Imagine the door is the boundary between wakefulness and sleep, between the busy day and the gentle night. You can let the day remain behind it for now. Then you turn away. You walk back through the corridor, and the lamps seem a little dimmer, a little softer, as if they are encouraging your eyelids to grow heavy. And when you take the next step, you find yourself back in your room, back in your own bed, carried there by the same quiet that carried you through time. Now let's take 3 slow breaths together. In, as if you are lifting a lamp. Out, as if you were turning it down. In, as if you were looking up at the star roads. Out, as if you were letting thoughts drift like dust in amber light. In, as if you were standing beside the sealed door. Out, as if you were closing the day with kindness. Let gravity do its quiet work. Let your breath become a little deeper, not forced, just naturally longer. Let the pauses between breaths stretch out gently like a calm space between waves. If you want, you can place one hand on your chest or on your belly and feel the movement. A small rise, a small fall, a steady tide, in and out. There is nothing you must accomplish in the next minute. There is nothing you must prove. There is only the simple human right to rest. And this is the soft reflection the story leaves behind. Sometimes the most loving presence is the one that steps back, not to disappear, but to make room, to let you breathe, to let you grow, to let you sleep. The ancient rooms of sealed wisdom were built with that same love. Their creators trusted a future they would never meet. They trusted that careful hands would come. They trusted that time could preserve what mattered. They trusted the quiet. You can trust the quiet now too. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below, only when you feel ready. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. Even a single word is enough. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. And don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys with Ancient Sleep Story. Now the lamp in the archive can remain on, low and warm. The clay tablet can remain on its cloth. The sealed door can remain sealed. The cedar can remain in the air like a quiet blessing. The roads of stars can remain open above you, turning slowly, faithfully, without urgency. You don't need to follow the story to the last sentence. You can let it drift away, like wind passing through reeds, and as the ancient secrets sleep quietly in their sealed rooms, you are allowed to sleep quietly too.